What is good, fellas? Lady fellas. Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. My name's John, and today I'm doing another Subterror Let's Talk About video, a revamped, I guess, Subterror Let's Talk About video, because I did one in the past a couple months ago, but honestly, back then I didn't even bring up Guru, and Guru was one, never here in the TCG, not even confirmed to be in a set yet. We now have Guru confirmed for Savage Strike that comes out in, 3 days? So, and the deck just changes so much with Guru's dynamic. Like, literally, the deck becomes Guru Control. People call it Guru Control. Your entire deck flows through this card. Like, you're not even playing the same deck, essentially. So, I think it's really important to go back through this. And I think it's important to talk about because I don't think we've seen... I think this might be the first time we've seen an engine like this that's so kind of similar to Trickstars, I think. And I know people are going to go, oh, Trickstars. Because I know a lot of people do find, the whole Trickstar deck annoying. But not quite like that. I think it is... I mean, listen, control decks, they're always going to have, annoying tendencies. But I love control decks, and they promote a lot of back and forth among duelists, and I think that's really good as well. So, anyway... Let's go through this because the number of cards that are relevant for Guru or for Subterrors now is so much smaller than what it used to be. It's a very compact, precise engine that does not really change a whole lot. Like, there's not a lot of variation between I wanted to play these cards or these cards in the archetype. No, it's kind of like Trickstars where you have just that one staple lineup that you always usually play. So, let's start with Guru. He's the most important card in your entire deck. He is your engine plus your stun combined. So good. So, he is a dragon, right? Yep, a flip effect dragon monster, level 4, earth attribute with 1600 attack and 1800 defense, so not bad stats. 1818 would have been clean, but that might have been a little too much to ask for something with effects as good as his. So, his first effect is a flip effect. Which says, on flip, you can add any Subterror card from your deck to your hand except for himself. There you go. Second effect says you can target one other face-up monster on the field. Change both it and this card to face-down defense position. Also, keep in mind, this effect can be activated during either player's turn if you control another Subterror card. That's a really important thing to remember, because if you can just put 2 Subterror monsters on the field, then this card is essentially a walking Book of Moon. And listen, I know it's 2018 and links are huge, but outside of Sky Striker, every deck, if you go first, they need to summon something before they make a link. And if you can put that face down, then that's not link fodder anymore. So that could be huge. You can use it on your turn to just kind of help stun by flipping something face down, or you can use it on your opponent's turn as disruption. Not even stun on your turn. It's board breaking. Just help flip him down. Just flip a card down, so if it was a negate or whatever, they're either forced to use it, or if it didn't work on Guru, then they just don't get it, which is pretty nice. So you can see why this card is probably so good. This is an easy 3 of in every Subterror deck. The second card is Subterror Fiendus. This is the only other 3 of monster you play in the deck, other than hand traps. But as far as the Subterror cards go, this is the only other real 3 of Subterror card. So Subterror Fiendus is your in-archetype hand trap. It's really, really powerful. This reads as follows, though. During either player's turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one Subterror monster you control, negate the activation of your opponent's card, then target one Subterror monster you control. Then change the targeted monster to face down defense position. So essentially what you do is you can just negate anything as long as you control a face-up Subterror. Just negate any effect. Is it effect or activation? No, it's just activation. So you negate any activation of a card, and then you flip your Subterror face down. So, not only is it stun, but it also just, flips your Guru back down to be flip face up, and then, Guru, gets you another search. So a lot of times you're just searching Fiendus with Guru on flip summon just to keep loading your hands with, literally, Solemn Judgment. Just negate anything, which is really, really, really strong. It also has a secondary effect, which does help with bricky kind of situations, which says you can target one face-up monster you control, change it to face-down defense position, and if you do, special summon a Subterror from your hand or graveyard in face-up or face-down defense mode. So one of the best ways this can work is just you just summon this in attack mode, you normal summon this, then you can just flip it down. and special summon something from either your hand or graveyard, depends what kind of spot in the duel you are. But if you top deck this late in the game and you don't have a lot of board presence, sometimes you're just forced to just normal this, flip it down, and you can just like special a Guru from grave that you've already gone through, and then Guru gets your NG going as well. So really nice, like a little something extra there to help that give that card a little extra value, but easy 3 of in the deck. Next we have Subterra Nemesis Archer. This card is a 1 of usually, so this is kind of like your Lilybell pivot, specific situation card. Nemesis Archer says at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's face down defense position monster and you control another Subterra monster, you can just shuffle that monster into the deck. So this is at the beginning of damage step, so it's like non-targeting, non-destruction removal, but it's it happens before damage calculation, so you don't take any damage or anything. And it just gets rid of something. This doesn't come up too much. The only time this really comes up is if you like Guru something face down. But then even if you Guru something face down, like Guru's probably going to be face down and you don't have any other monsters. So like that doesn't really come up that often. If it does, cool. But it shouldn't really come up that often for you. But the more important effect is this second effect, which says if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Subterra monster straight from the deck in face up or face down defense mode. So this card can just pull out your main boss monster straight from the deck just by attacking into something, or you set this face down and like try and protect it to a point where your opponent has to out it via destruction. That's all you need is this card to be destroyed, and you just get Umastrix or Guru. You get Guru to start your engine, or you get Umastrix to just like threaten your opponent, put some pressure on them. So this card's a really nice just 1 of in the deck. You search it if you need it, if you're in a situation where it can come in extra handy, but only a 1 of. You're not trying to see it in the hand too often. And then your 1 boss monster is Subterra Behemoth Umastrix. So there's a bunch of Subterra Behemoths. All of them pretty much stink except for Umastrix. Which one's the other? Is Phosphor Glacier the one I'm thinking of? The other one that just like foolishes any card from deck to grave. The only thing is the Subterra archetype itself doesn't really make use of that. So like if you wanted to play a spicy deck that plays Phosphor Glacier and play some out of archetype cards that work in the graveyard like Destrudo or something, then that's on you, but I don't really think it's the most optimal way to play the deck. It's going to promote extra bricking and stuff like that, and that's not what we're aiming for. But Umastrix is the only like really good one. He has a flip effect that says on flip you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and banish it. You can only use this effect once per turn. And he has 2 more effects as well. First one says when a face-up monster you control is flipped face down and you control no more face-up monsters after that, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. And then also once per turn, this card can just change itself face down. So that's really nice that it changes itself face down, that like no matter what you do, you could go into your battle phase, attack, and then after that you're like, all right, now I'll just set myself, or if you try and out me or whatever, I have an opportunity to flip this up and just banish something, at least take something with me. And that applies a decent amount of pressure on people and forces them to use a lot of resources just to get this guy off the field. I will say his stats are a little, not obnoxious, but this is a defensive deck, so it's not the worst, but sometimes you do need to like get offensive with this card, and big monsters can be a problem for this deck. Like sometimes if you need to beat over something, he's only 2,000 attack, 2,700 defense, so sometimes that can come up, but we do have other ways to help, make up for that. But he's your main boss monster. You only play 1 of them because he's super searchable. We're not playing Desires in the main deck or anything because we're not risking banishing our 1-ofs, but you have to play him because he's just too good to just banish something, like straight up. No mercy. Then we move to the field spell. This is another reason why this deck is so similar to Trickstars, is that like literally your main engine cards is like you have Guru, which is like your equivalent to Cantina. You have Hidden City, which is your equivalent to Light Stage, and you have like a powerful trap card that is almost like your equivalent to Reincarnation. Maybe not quite as strong, but like you have all the same kind of pieces. They don't do the exact same things, but they're different archetypes. They're not supposed to do the exact same thing. That's why they're different. But they do have like the same kind of basis, as far as like you have the same kind of pieces there in line. But anyway, what Hidden City does is on activation adds a Subterra monster from deck to hand. Great, it's a free Guru. This is like a huge consistency buff. You get to play 5 more copies of Guru. You run 8 Guru in your deck. You're going to see it more than half of your duels for sure. its second effect says once per turn you can change a face down defense position sub-terror monster you control to face up attacker defense position. So straight up you can just flip something up, which actually comes up a lot when like sometimes you just like flip Guru down with his own effect and then flip him back face up to just like pop, like banish something immediately. Or you do that with Guru, just flip him down to flip him up to search. Like if your opponent negates Guru, then he can still activate his effect again. So literally, like if you flip Guru for the first time in your turn and your opponent just ashes it, you literally use Guru's effect to flip himself down, then you can use Hidden City to flip him back face up, and now Guru gets a search again. And if they don't have another negate, like that's just how you play through so many like hand traps and stuff. It's so nice. And its last effect, I think it's his last effect, right? Says once per turn when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change one face down defense position sub-terror monster you control to face up attack or defense position to negate that attack. So nothing crazy here. It's battle phase shenanigans, but it's not the worst. I mean, if your opponent has just sucked it up to the point where they're like, oh, like I gotta just use the battle phase. Like I have to just beat over them. Even if you have Umastrix, they're like, I gotta let him banish something, but I just gotta take him with me. Or they're like, I gotta let him get the search off Guru, but I just need to get Guru off the field. But then like you just negate the attack, and I mean, that's not really gonna. Nobody's gonna attack into it if they know that's gonna get negated, unless they just don't read the card, they don't respect the deck, and they're just like too confident, and it punishes them. But it is just like a nice little floodgate that like, hey, one free attack, I'm gonna negate and get a search or get a banish or whatever your flip effect is at the time, which is really, really nice. If you're really, really powerful field spell, that's a 3 of with 2 copies of Terraforming. You want that card at max. And then for your 1 trap card is Subterror Final Battle. This card's really, really cool. I love the design of this card. So pretty much the way this card works, it says on activation, you activate one of its 4 effects. You just pick one of the 4, you activate it. But the cool part is this card actually sets itself back face down after it like resolves. So it's just really cool that you literally activate it and you load it back up for next turn. And it's also not even a hard once per turn. So you literally could have like 2. I wouldn't advise playing 3 of this card, but whatever. But I would advise playing 2, and if you can get 2 on the field, you literally can just activate 2 every turn. Flip them, activate 2 effects, put them back down. Next turn you activate, boom, boom, 2 effects every turn, every single turn, and it's like so obnoxious for your opponent to try and deal with. But at least for the 4 effects, here's what you got to choose between. The first effect says change one set Subterror monster on the field to face up attacker defense mode. So you just flip something up. Second effect says change one face up Subterror monster on the field to face down defense mode. Put something down. You can already see why those effects are already so good. Is literally like, oh, your Guru gets hand trapped. Great. Flip him down with his own effect. Flip him back face up with Final Battle. Search again. Pretty good. Pretty good. His third effect says attack and defense of one Subterror monster on the field, becomes equal to its combined original attack and defense until the end of this turn. I know you're saying like, oh, okay, like, blah, blah, blah. First off, this can be activated in the damage step. This isn't a stat altering thing, so there are some cards that won't be able to chain to this in the damage step. And just look at what you're looking at here. Guru, because its defense is also pretty high at 18, Guru becomes 3,400 attack or defense. So your main stun card becomes a big-ass beat stick or a huge wall for your opponent to deal with, which is huge. And then as far as the other monsters go, you're never really going to have Fiendus use it with that. But Archer becomes 3,000. Umastrix becomes 47. Umastrix literally beats over everything in the game. So that effect does come up a decent amount, especially with the deck like this, where if you're just playing a deck that likes to spam the board, they may just try and spam a couple beat sticks and just play like beat you down, just overwhelm you with battle phase. But then you just make your guy 34 once they go into the battle phase, and they're just like, oh, main phase 2? You're like, yes, main phase 2. Good call. So that's really, really nice. And then the last effect says this turn activate effects of sub-tier cards cannot be negated. Sometimes you just throw that out there just as like a, if you don't really have a contingency plan for Guru to, you know, reactivate his effects, or you don't really want to waste your effects on that, then you can activate this to where it's just like you can't be ashed on his search. It's mostly ash though. That's it. Yeah, because you're not negating the activation with like Veiler or Impermanence. So, but there are definite ways. Like if you're playing Salamangreats and you know they set their roar, this card could be really nice. So yeah, this card's really good. I love this card. And then one controversial card, which I have seen some deck profiles just play one copy of this card, but I don't really like this card that much. It's okay. Anyway, what this card says is all Subterror monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each set monster on the field. Okay. Then once per turn, when a Subterror monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one Subterror card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So that's a nice little recursion effect, but like this card just seems so meh to me for 2019. I mean, obviously this card came out, what, 2017, 2016? So it is a little older, but it's just too reliant. Like if this just gave 500 to all Subterrors regardless of anything, then that makes Umastrix like 3,200 defense, so 3,000 beaters don't get over him. Like he's 25 instead of, 2,000, which is much more impressive offensively. It makes like your Archer 2,100, your Guru 2,100 attack wise. So like it makes your like smaller control monsters like legit beat sticks, which I do like that. But this is only when for each set monster on the field. It's too reliant on like your opponent stuff and being able to put your opponent stuff face down. But then once you go into the battle phase, I'm not 100% certain, but when you attack something, it flips face up. So do you lose that buff once you attack something and it flips face up? Will you lose that 500? If you do, then this is like dirty doo-doo, right? And then for the second effect to even activate, you need to inflict battle damage to your opponent. This is not a super battle-oriented deck. So to me, this card is just not worth it. I think like the boost is too conditional, and also the add back from grave effect is too conditional. But I have seen some people play one of it. They think it's better than other people do. I think it's slept on. And I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's, for 2019, it's just too kind of phased out. But you should hopefully be able to see the similarities between this deck and Trickstars. Like you have your field spell that searches, boom. You have your main monster that searches, Guru. You have not necessarily a stun monster. I mean, I would, dude, if this, I was literally saying, like, if this deck had, like, a hand trap, like a Caribbean, but it's a Subterror. You know what I mean? A Caribbean that's a Subterror, that would be insane, because, like, one of the best ways to, like, beat this deck is to just, like, swarm the board and just play, like, beatdown. That could be so hard for this deck to deal with, to just recover from. But, like, that card would just mitigate that completely. But overall, I think this is a really nice, powerful, small engine. I mean, this engine is usually 15 cards, like literally 3, 6, 7, 8, let's say 5, because 3 and 2 terraforming, so 13, and then 2 of this. So 15 card engine, which means you literally have 25 slots in your deck to just, mold to whatever kind of build you're looking for. If you're looking for a super heavy stun deck, then, a bunch of Solemns, a bunch of, Lost Winds, whatever you want to play is like the really heavy stun cards. If you want to play a more Floodgate-oriented deck, you can do that. I mean, There Can Only Be One is a pretty good card in this deck. There's Goes and Match, they're all Earths. So there are some pretty good Floodgates you have. Summon Limit is a pretty good one. You never really summon more than twice in the deck too often. And yeah, I just think overall you can do some nasty things with this deck. It does some really powerful stun things. It is similar in the engine aspect as Trickstars. Trickstars are definitely faster. They can get more stuff on the board and be a little more offensively quicker than this deck can, but this deck is just better at controlling. I would say this deck is better at controlling than Trickstars. Trickstars are better at being offensive, faster. So, pick your poison. Which one do you like more? Which one do you value more? And maybe you don't like a little light fairies, and maybe you want something a little more badass. This archetype is definitely more badass than Trickstars. So, there we go. I think this deck's really cool. I had the entire deck except for Guru. I just need to pick that up once the cards actually come out at my local shop, and then I'm totally going to be playing this deck. And I think this deck is a legit tier 2 at least right now, and we'll see if somebody can break the deck and make it work wonders. But I really hope to see this deck top very, very soon. Hopefully Chicago will already see some tops from this deck, but only time will tell. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you think I missed anything specific that I needed / should have talked about in this video, let me know down below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more stuff from me in the future. If you love Subterrors, I'm definitely going to be dropping a deck list, a profile pretty soon. I'm actually going to be dropping a bunch of profiles pretty soon, hopefully. I'm trying to get my hands on Extravagance, Ash Blossom, now that it's dropped in price, and I'm going to see about Impermanence, but I really am trying to play Impermanence in a couple decks, but until Dual Power comes out and gets that reprint, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get Impermanence before that. It's just so much for 3 cards. Like, it's so much. Almost $300. It's insane. But I'm going to do my best. I'm at least going to get Extravagance, because Extravagance is like so good in like every deck I play, like straight up. It's like the best draw card in every deck I play. But as soon as I get my hands on those, I'm going to try to get some deck profiles out for you guys. And yeah, that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And enjoy the rest of your, Tuesday? Is today Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday. Peace.